How would you describe a ninja? I don't know, probably black hood, black robes, samurai sword, something like that.
Oh yeah, cool. What if I told you you were completely wrong and that was completely stupid? Well, I'd feel like a dumbass. Well, you sure look like one, but don't worry. In this video, I'm going to explain and
So like I was just explaining to my friend, the way we usually picture ninjas is almost totally wrong. They actually looked
nothing like that. And there was no such thing as a ninja uniform at all. Ninjas typically wore civilian clothing to blend in with everyone else. If you think about it, it makes sense to look like everyone else. So they wouldn't draw attention to themselves. Walking around in an all-black hooded outfit with a sword on your back would probably cause some suspicion.
Ninjas would wear navy blue, not black. 1. To hide the stains of blood better.
2. Navy blue, because it blends into the night better than black. Ninjas were covert agents whose goal was to disappear in plain sight.
So the next time a kid comes to your door on Halloween dressed up as a historically inaccurate ninja, make sure you let him know that, hey, you don't look like a ninja, you look like a dummy.
And you're not getting any candy, Pajama Kid.
The next misconception is that people only live to be like 30 in the Middle Ages. That's not true at all.
Forever. However, not nearly as much shorter as you may think. Which isn't necessarily super old, but definitely not, dying in your 30s or 40s.
Developers. The largest reason for this misconception and common discrepancy is the fact that infant mortality in the Middle Ages was just so high.
With modern medicine and technological advances, the infant mortality rate, fortunately, is extremely low nowadays.
But in medieval times, if 50% of the population died before they turned 1, obviously the average life expectancy would have been lower.
Our third misconception that I personally remember hearing vividly as a child was that if you drop a penny off the Empire State Building and it lands on someone, it will kill them.
This is completely false. Without getting too much into detail, let's just go over some simple numbers.
For starters, a penny itself only weighs 2.5 grams. With the height that the penny would fall from the Empire State Building, it would have the opportunity to achieve terminal velocity.
However, adjusting for wind resistance and air friction would only allow this to really reach anywhere from 30 to 100 miles per hour. You have to think about the energy expenditure once it impacts. It takes roughly 68 joules of power to be able to fracture a human skull.
Now for context, a raindrop with its tiny mass at terminal velocity will only have 0.2 joules.
So the next time you're up in a high building, throw all the change you can over the edge. It's completely safe, it's fun, and nobody will get mad at you.
And if someone does get mad, just do what that really annoying kid in school would do. Just say, it's a free country, I can do what I want.
Free country. Nobody thinks that's annoying. It's honestly great.
Number 4. Benjamin Franklin did not invent or discover electricity. At some point, you probably heard the story of Benjamin. Now, this story alone is already debated on when or if it ever even happened, but that's not what I'm focusing on.
Right off the bat, one thing to make very clear is that nobody invented electricity. And
to give credit where credit is due, Benjamin Franklin had one of the greatest scientific minds of his time.
But he was not the first to discover electricity. Egyptian scholars wrote in text in 2750 BC. The first proper electric study was conducted in the 1600s by English scientist William Gilbert, who actually coined the term electricity.
Benjamin Franklin had numerous contributions in the field of electricity, notably demonstrating the electric nature of lightning with his key.
This next one honestly blows my mind. People still believe that WWE is fake when it's obviously real. Like, just look at John Cena. He's real, he's as real as it gets.
What do you think he's been doing for the last 20 years? Just faking it? Just doing nothing? Why do you think Fred would have John Cena in his movie if he was just a big phony? This is just complete lunacy.
And even though it's modern history, it's still history and it's still real.
A man, a woman, a pitchfork, a house, a barn. Now, if you're like most people, you've probably assumed, oh, this is a husband and wife.
So now you just look creepy.
Completely off topic, but just kind of interesting, was how this painting even came to be in the first place. The only reason this painting exists is because Grant Wood, the original painter of the painting, saw this house.
And the people that modeled for the painting aren't even related. The woman in the painting is Grant's sister, and the man is their family dentist, which is so funny, but kind of interesting.
Okay, so this next one makes a lot of sense, but I've just never thought about it. Ancient Greek and Roman sculptures were actually originally painted with color.
They only appear white today because the original pigments have just deteriorated. There are some well-preserved statues that still...
Think about it. Your 2006 Honda Civic has paint falling off. You think the pigments of 2,000 years ago are going to last forever? No.
Source. Speaking of things you can't see anymore, Helen Keller was famous for being a great speaker because of her limitations, right?
Helen was a strong supporter of socialism and communism, focusing on workers' and women's rights and advocating for a communist government in the U.S.
I find this misconception quite interesting because a lot of the information about Helen Keller has nothing to do with this.
But obviously her story is motivational, and she was very well spoken for someone in her situation. But the majority of her initial content was all about communism.
Which is just so interesting that that's not talked about. Whether you support or don't support communism, I feel like this is just interesting that this fact is just left out.
And she's just seen as, oh yeah, she was a great motivational speaker. Well, what did you talk about? And ladies and gentlemen, the last thing that I want to talk about
This misconception is that chastity belts were a medieval thing. Chastity belts were not a medieval thing at all, didn't even exist back then.
Also, a lot of medieval chastity belts that have been found are either complete fakes or anti-masturbation devices from the 19th to 20th.
In 1878, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, yes, that Kellogg, the creator of cornflakes, he was an advocate for complete abstinence of all kinds.
There is literally a quote from John Kellogg that goes as follows. Neither the plague, nor war, nor smallpox, nor similar...
All I'm saying is I think Johnny Boy should stick to cereal.
And with that being said, I would love to hear from you guys. How many of these misconceptions have you heard of? And how many of these did you actually believe before watching this video?
Let me know in the comments. And also, if there's any misconceptions that you know the truth about, leave them in the comments below. And who knows, maybe I'll make a part 2.
We're dropping brand new videos every single week, so if you enjoy, subscribe. We've got a lot more awesome videos coming up very soon. Trust me, bro.
Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Subscribe to see them.